Mr. Evans, Kevin Dye Painting. We often do video bids of all of our work. This really helps everybody kind of see what we are doing and how we do stuff, and it makes it far easier for people when this is a second home to kind of get a better idea how we do business. I will also send a quote along, or at least an email, so we can do some stuff a la carte and kind of see exactly what all we're looking at, because some of this house looks okay, so you might not want all of it painted. You might just be the decks. So what I'll basically do is just kind of do a walk around of what we do. First off is it definitely needs a pressure washing, and a lot of the stuff that we do a lot of prep. I try to do 10-year paint jobs. We use the best paint that money can get. Kelly Moore is predominantly. Stuff like this is caulked in, stuff like that is caulked in. We basically try to seal the house to the best of ability. This deck, yeah, all that right here, all that stuff right there is pressure washed, bleached, sanded, and then primed, and then painted. We do 2 coats on everything. I've yet to run into a paint that I can do 1 coat on. Decks, it all depends on how you want to do it. This deck takes a beating. It's hot out here today. You can obviously tell that this one takes a beating, but with proper screws, resetting some boards, like this guy right here, resetting some boards, bleaching it out, and then putting a heavy oil-based stain, I can make this deck look really good. But it's going to be a maintenance just because of the fact of how it's facing, but you already know that. So a lot of prep work. We are a prep company, so basically we caulk in everything. Like I said, like we do these guys, just like I showed downstairs there. We do this fascia, that 1x right here. We do that. We get in, we try to coat it as best as we can. We spray it with a sprayer, airless, and then we back roll everything, and then we do another coat. Decks would obviously be stained with a sprayer as well, oil-based, but I do notice that the trim, the railing stopped the color, so that could either, we could continue on with the trim color for the rest of all the railing. There's a lot of different things we can do here. This is just kind of a meeting video, so you can kind of get an idea. Store looks pretty good. Probably just a light sand, a little bit of a varnish. I like to use a different varnish. There's your camera. I'm going to point at my hat so you know who I am. But window trim, we do the butt ends here, we do the butt ends here. We do rapid as well. The decks, I would suggest, if this was me, I would take the decks to whatever trim color we want the house. I would do the decks, and then I would do all the deck boards. We'd go ahead and do all those with an oil-based stain, but all this stuff we could do with a trim color, and we could even use an opaque stain so it doesn't flake. All these ridges and stuff like this is sanded. We sand all of that stuff. I do not like a rough edge. I see some mold up there in the back corner of that eave. That will be bleached out. All the gutters, when we pressure wash the house, which is extremely important to pressure wash, all those gutters, we clean them out with a pressure washer because we're already up there with a high pressure. Lights come off the building so that we can spray, and if you want to replace them, you don't have the circle where they used to be if you ever decide to go to a different style of light. All this would be fixed. Again, with this railing, I'd almost suggest doing all the railing one thing, you know, but it's, you know, either way they're going to have to be shot, so with a sprayer, so what we're shooting it could go a lot of ways, but having it all match in would look really nice. We talked, we have a house over in Blue Lake that we just recently did, and that's what we had done over there, and it just really tied the house together rather nicely. Yeah, oil base back here. Unfortunately, due to how the deck is, it'll probably have to be 2 or 3 coats of the oil base. You just need to do it in a day, you do it the next day, and you do it the next day. Just really soak the wood in it so that we have the, you know, you want to just basically make sure to get the longevity out of it. With 3 good coats of stain though, you should be able to pull 10 years off this deck. And that's a long time for deck language. Obviously, like I said, prep, pressure wash, best paints, oil-based stains only. We don't like to use the cheap stuff. We paint everything. We go all the way back. I think one way to save money is obviously we wouldn't do the back part back in there because no one's ever going to be back there. And the second thing is that we would not stain underneath the deck unless you wanted to. That takes up a lot of product and it is rather expensive. When we do pressure wash, we trench the rocks back so that we can actually pressure wash on that edge and you don't have a concrete line. And then when we paint, you don't have a line. We bleach all of that mold away from the home, everything bleached out. All this has to be prepped and cleaned. All this stuff has to be sanded and scraped. That is the situation. I do like this brown though. I mean, I really like this brown, and you could keep that brown even for the house trim possibly. I'm not sure. Any colors that you want to do are the same cost to us because of the fact that we do everything 2 coats. So it's darker colors, lighter colors, it doesn't matter to us. Same thing under here, a lot of pressure washing. At least the wood's not against the house, so that's good. And then again, you know, it is expensive to do underneath here, but some people want us to. I don't always think it's conducive to the longevity of the wood. I think it's just kind of something that you pay a little more for. But that is completely and absolutely up to you. I will email over this video to you, and then I'll have some questions and I'll be able to write up a bid. But I mean, just for us, if we were going to come in and do the whole darn thing, you know, I could definitely make this place look amazing. That deck up there is going to need a little help, but that's okay. Underneath there, I think that one, obviously, because it's so visible, underneath that deck should without a doubt be painted to whatever color we decide to go to, just because of the fact that it is extremely visible. The rest of it, not so much. I have a feeling you most likely are not going to be entertaining under this deck anytime soon. So that's kind of a rundown of what we do. We've been up here many years. We've been licensed in the state of Arizona and the state of Texas. This is by far not our first rodeo, and we take great pride in what we do. And the key is prep, clean surfaces, high-end paint, and just a lot of elbow grease, and we can turn these houses around. It's a very nice home, and it's not really that far out. It just needs a paint job. Just needs a paint job. So hopefully this finds you well, and thank you very much. We'll talk soon.